Hey guys, what's up? It's 8-Bit Eric, and we had a lot of big news come out of yesterday's Nindie Direct presentation. So big, in fact, that Nintendo literally has taken one of its biggest IPs, flipped that sumbitch over, and basically handed the keys to an indie studio to develop the next Legend of Zelda game. This is huge, it's big, and it's true, and today we're going to talk about how this exactly happened. Like, what exactly did this indie studio do to get Nintendo to trust it with such a big franchise? So today's video, we're going to talk about this, and yeah, so grab a drink, a snack, maybe a back scratcher, and let's get this party started. So yeah, Cadence of Hyrule was revealed yesterday. A big, surprise, shocking announcement. Now, I touched on it a couple weeks ago when there was a rumor on a Reddit board where a user said a new Zelda game, in addition to Link's Awakening Remake, was coming in 2019. So that's 2 Zelda games. Too good to be true. However, I was not prepared, and I'm sure everybody else out there was not prepared to see that an indie studio was going to be doing a mashup. We're getting Crypt of the Necrodancer with Legend of Zelda put together to make Cadence of Hyrule. This is big. This is huge. Now sure, Nintendo kind of, I guess, flirted with this idea when they took Mario, who's like their main franchise, and combined it with Ubisoft's Rabbids franchise, and we got Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which I thought was a fantastic game. I enjoyed the living crap out of that. But now we're getting Cadence of Hyrule. This is a very, very huge step. Basically unprecedented by Nintendo to basically hand the keys over to probably their most popular series outside of Super Mario Brothers. This is an indie studio that has the Zelda IP. They're developing a game from the ground up. And I was reading an interesting article on IGN. Believe it or not, IGN caught my attention today because they interviewed somebody. They interviewed a lot of the people that are involved with Cadence of Hyrule. So let's go ahead and talk about it, read some of the quotes, and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. So first up, is this even able to be called an indie? Because it's Zelda. That's what's throwing me off about it, because it's huge. It's almost too huge of an announcement to be declared an indie game, but it is. Now, the developer, Ryan Clark, he's the founder, created Necrodancer. He said that basically they initially approached Nintendo to use Zelda as a smaller, like, method of their in their game, like a DLC type of package, and basically the collaboration worked well, and it grew faster and bigger until it basically became like something huge. Like, they made a love baby, you know, brace yourself games, and Nintendo basically had digital Zelda sex, and from this idea of putting DLC just grew into a huge idea of becoming a new Zelda game. Now, he's saying we were considering making a new Nintendo Switch project, and we imagined how cool it would be to have Zelda characters appearing in Necrodancer as DLC. But Nintendo's interest apparently grew beyond a simple DLC. To our surprise, Nintendo was extremely interested in the prospect, and before we knew it, we were working on a completely new title, mashing up Necrodancer with Legend of Zelda. And the more that I sat back and thought about this, I was like, wow, the more I realized that this was something bigger than that. Because at first I did think it was DLC. I did think, oh, they're just doing a skin expansion, and it's going to be something that is just kind of like a cute little thing. You know, lots of indie games just add new characters and stuff in, but this became something bigger than that. Now, further reading this article, it says that a lot of developers are always reaching out to Nintendo to use their IPs. And I can imagine, you know, people want to use Mario. People want to use Zelda. And the last time somebody used it, it was on the Philips CDI. And we already know how that worked out. But, you know, He says, clearly something was different this time around. When you look at a case like Cadence of Hyrule, there's special cases and some instances where our Japan team see content and see titles that they want to work with, and the interest is a two-way street, really. So that means Nintendo, for whatever reason, had a huge open mind this time around. Maybe they wanted to think outside the box. Maybe the idea of using these characters in this type of environment with this type of gameplay was something that just felt right. And, you know, you go back to Ubisoft's Mario and Rabbids, you think about how that was like the last unlikely mashup of characters that you ever thought would cross over and make a game. And I personally thought that was fucking wild. The first time I saw Mario and Rabbids unveiled, I was like, really? What in the blue hell are we seeing here? And then all of a sudden, I played it, and I was like, this is probably one of the most greatest things I've had the pleasure of checking out ever. And it just worked. So maybe they felt that they could take a chance on this. This is a smaller type of game, you know, on a smaller scale. It's not like Breath of the Wild. So there is a less risk involved if this doesn't work out as well. And to just let an indie studio handle it, that's actually really interesting in my opinion. And let's not forget that Brace Yourself Studios, this is only the second game they're ever going to make after Necrodancer. So that's a huge like upgrade for a small indie studio, and that's actually a huge vote of confidence in my opinion to allow an indie studio that's only made one other game make your game. That's big. That's a huge vote of confidence for Nintendo. And then there's the underlying question, because Zelda fans are just humongously dedicated, loyal, and rabid. And, you know, is this even canon? Is this going to be considered canon? Is it a spin-off? Is it a sequel? What timeline is it set in? There's going to be all these questions that Zelda fans are going to have. And in regards to that, Scott, he says, first and foremost, it's a new entry in the Necrodancer universe that they took extensive care to ensure that it would be considered both a Zelda game and a Necrodancer game, and that it doesn't really fall in line with the Zelda type title. So it's going to be more true to the Necrodancer series with a dash of Zelda in there. And they're going to have to take care in how they're going to incorporate everything. Judging from the game, the trailer that we saw and stuff, it looks like it's faithful to both. I mean, it looks pretty accurate to what a Zelda game would be. I'm not familiar with Necrodancer, but I'm going to jump in and sink my teeth into that now that, you know, Zelda's going to be involved. He also goes on to say that he considers Cadence of Hyrule a Nindie, despite being part of one of the biggest gaming franchises around. When asked if it makes it the first Zelda indie game ever, he said he wouldn't go that far, but it's one of the first indie developers to use Zelda content. Whatever you label it, it's pretty amazing that it's happening at all. And that is a fact. That's big, and it's true. The fact, again, a smaller level independent developer is being allowed to basically use one of the biggest gaming franchises of all time with only 2 games experience in passion, dedication, and an idea. And I think this is exactly what I said earlier. It's Nintendo taking something, flipping the script around, and they're just on a roll as of late. They're taking a lot of huge risks, thinking outside the box, having a lot of fun with making these games for us. I mean, the Switch single-handedly is showing that it's a system for everybody. The accessibility's there, the variety's there, and they're basically just saying, you know what, fuck it. You know, people want games, let's make some games, and let's make all sorts of games. Let's have people make some of these games. Let's see what could come out there. And I think when people take risk like this, good things come out of it. So definitely, I'm looking forward to Cadence of Hyrule. So, I'm calling it. This is going to be a best-selling game. It's going to do fantastic. It's going to have all sorts of people talking about it. This is going to be probably one of the greatest Zelda-related games of all time. And who would have guessed that a small independent studio of less than a dozen people would probably make what's possibly going to be the next best thing. And it involves The Legend of Zelda, and it literally came out of nowhere. So this is huge in my most humble and honest opinion. I'm still sitting here just factoring exactly what has been announced. Oh, What do you guys think? Is this interesting to you? Is this something that you're going to sink your teeth into? Comment down below. And once again, if you are new to the channel, please feel free to throw a subscription. It's free. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. And guys, I'll see you on the next video. Have a great day. Peace out.